Another month has gone by and another round of fresh Japan updates have surfaced that I need to share with you. And in typical Japan fashion, there is no shortage of interesting news to cover. Japan finally announcing an official electronic Suica app that Android and Apple users will be able to use. Japan's tourism problems continuing as tourists tear up the infamous Mt Fuji cover, and Mt Fuji opening up its first round of reservations to climb the mountain in July are just a few of the major updates you need to know about. Let's not delay any longer and get right into it. If you are overwhelmed with planning the endless amount of things to do in Japan, well, I have the solution that is just for you. And that solution is my business, Hidden Japan Journeys. After years of living in Japan, I have gained a wealth of knowledge about how to easily get around and help plan your Japan trip as efficiently as possible. If you're interested, contact me on my business email, which is right here, or check out my website, which is located in the description below. To start off this fresh round of Japan updates, I actually have some pretty good news for you. Japan is finally implementing an electronic Suica app that all tourists will be able to use. Over the past year, JR East has been facing a severe microchip shortage, limiting their ability to provide vital Suica cards. And for any of you who may not know, the reason why this is such a big deal is because the Suica cards are the primary methods used to navigate all of Japan's public transportation systems. While this year-long shortage has been rather inconvenient for residents, it has been an absolute disaster for incoming tourists, as there is no way for them to easily access IC Suica cards to get around Japan. And while visitors that have iPhones have been able to use their Apple Wallet for virtual Suica cards already, Android users have been unfortunately left without a similar alternative. However, with the new mobile Suica app, both Android and Apple users will have that vital alternative in the wake of this long-standing Suica shortage. This app might even become the preferred alternative for Apple users as well, since JR East claims you can use a multitude of credit cards rather than being restricted to the few options the current Apple Wallet alternative allows. The only bad news about this development is the mobile Suica app doesn't appear that it will be ready until 2025. So until then, visitors will have to rely on the previous alternatives I've discussed in the past, which you can check out in my previous Suica videos where I go over all of these alternative solutions so you can have a stress-free trip in Japan. Anyways, now that we've covered the initial good news about Japan's recent updates, let's move on to some more controversial news to hit the streets recently. The recently installed Mt Fuji view barrier has been torn up by unruly tourists. For anyone that isn't fully aware about the Mt Fuji drama, well, let me get you up to speed. Over the past few months, there has been a certain Lawson store at the base of Mt Fuji which has become an unexpected hotspot for tourists. This Lawson store just so happens to align perfectly with a great view of Mt Fuji in the background, providing tourists with a great photo shoot opportunity. And admittedly, it does offer a pretty nice shot to remember Japan, showcasing two of the country's iconic facets into one convenient picture. But this unexpected tourist hotspot has drawn the ire of many of the local residents, as they voice their concerns about the excessive noise, pollution, and just downright safety concerns because tourists keep crossing the streets without regarding the traffic. Because of this, the local government decided to install a barrier to block the view of Mt Fuji with hopes of deterring tourists from congregating at this local Lawson store. However, it seems that some unruly and disrespectful tourists didn't get the memo, as they started to take matters into their own hands. Instead of finding another place to snap some great photos of Fuji, tourists have instead torn open the barrier, poking holes into the barrier that are just large enough to sneak some photos through the gap. Now, for anyone who's been following all of these Japan updates over the past few months, this honestly shouldn't come as much of a surprise to you, unfortunately. Japan has seen a massive surge in tourists since the country reopened almost 2 years ago. And with so many tourists, it is only natural that a few bad apples make their way in and ruin it for everyone else. This Mt Fuji event is definitely not an isolated one, as there have been many reports of tourists being unruly and disrespectful in major cities like Tokyo and Kyoto as well. Now again, that's not to say that the majority of tourists are unruly or disrespectful. You know how it goes, that it's always just one or two or maybe a group of people that always has to ruin it for everyone else. As for what Japan will do in response to this, that is yet to be officially determined, but I would like to hear your opinions in the comments section below. Speaking of Mt Fuji, I have some more updates for you regarding Japan Japan's famous volcano. Last year, Japan announced that, due to overcrowding concerns, the government would implement a visitor cap on the Fuji Yoshida Trail to a 4,000 visitor cap daily. This new measure is to help ensure the trail doesn't get overpolluted and the public facilities don't get ruined due to overcapacity for this upcoming season. And now, just a couple weeks ago, the local government began allowing tourists to reserve their visit to Mt Fuji through their website. And if you've been wondering how to lock in your own visit so you can climb Mt Fuji, don't worry because we're about to go over it. All you have to do is head to the Mt Fuji website, which was established by the government, select the options that lead you to the reservation page, and then set your date and number of people coming with you for that day. And once you confirm the number of people, confirm the date, and pay the fee, you'll be locked in for your reservation. As for how fast all of these reservation slots will get sold out, that's as good as anyone's guess. Like I said earlier, this is the first time that this measure is being implemented, so it's hard to say how fast each day is going to get sold out. So if you want to play it on the safe side and make sure you can get your visit to Fuji locked in, then be sure to head to this website and book it early. And for anyone that can't find the website, I provided the link for it in the description below. But if you don't want to have to deal with all these reservations or want to see thousands of tourists hiking up Mt Fuji with you, then you can easily hike up any of the other trails that lead you to the top of Mt Fuji as well. There are a multitude of trails you can use to climb the famous Mt Fuji, with the other trails being nearly tourist free and, more importantly, free and without reservations required. So be sure to check out those alternatives to save you from the crowds and save you money. While these past few updates might have not been the most positive news to hear, I do have some more good news to share with you, and it's regarding Kyoto's public transportation system. After months of planning, Kyoto has finally opened up their newest bus route that is designed specifically to help tourists. Kyoto has been one of the main cities that has been experiencing the unintended side effects of Japan's tourism boom, with the public transportation system getting absolutely swamped, making it an unpleasant experience for both locals and tourists alike. To combat this overcrowding situation, the city government announced they will be implementing a new bus route to help alleviate the overcrowding situation and help both locals and tourists the same way. And finally, on June 1st, Kyoto put their bus plan into action, launching the first tourist specialized bus route from Kyoto Station. This express bus service will stop only at major tourist spots, allowing not only tourists to access their top things to do on their lists quickly and effectively, but it will also alleviate the congestion that has been plaguing Kyoto's buses for all. And as always, if there are any additional updates on this news, you will be sure to hear it from me first. And to end this update video with some more good news, Japan has reported the highest amount of yen ever returned to the police last year. During 2023, a total of 4.4 billion yen was returned to the police last year, a record-setting amount of money that was hopefully returned to the majority of their owners. And although Japan has definitely shown some of its flaws over the past few months due to the over-tourism issues, it certainly still remains to be one of the safer and better countries to visit, as this little bit of good news reaffirms that claim. I myself have a similar story of someone returning yen to me when they could have easily walked away. A few months ago, I had charged about 2,000 yen to my Suica card with a 10,000 yen bill and forgot to grab the change when it came out. I had walked about 2 minutes from the train station when a Japanese man ran up to me and returned my 8,000 yen in cash. He could have easily just walked away and kept the cash for himself, but he not only did not run away, he literally ran after me to make sure I got the money back. So with all of this in mind, if you come to Japan, you shouldn't really have to worry about anything getting lost or stolen, as there is a high chance that someone will turn it into the police station for you to reclaim. Email me if you would like some expert help on planning your trip to Japan. Like this video if you found it useful. Subscribe for more content about Japan, and check out my affiliate links in the description below for when you plan your next trip to Japan. Alright, that's gonna do it, and until next time, I'll see you then.